Ah yes, Luigi's Mansion, probably the most unexpected first-party launch title ever to be made. Before this game, the only other Nintendo console not to launch with a Mario game was the Virtual Boy, and people who talk about that to Nintendo tend to go missing. So yeah, the world got its first proper Luigi game, as practically everyone on the internet loves to say. Even though you technically have Mario's missing, but people who talk about that tend to find out what happened to the people who talk about the Virtual Boy. But anyways, this game wasn't going to be a platform game, instead being a sort of action-adventure puzzle game set in a spooky mansion with ghosts and stuff. I guess Nintendo was trying to be edgy because, you know, GameCube, cubes have edges. So, it may be unexpected, but is it good? I mean, that's probably why you clicked the video in the first place, just to hear my stupid opinion on an over 15-year-old game. Man, I feel old. So, anyways, when you start the game, you see Luigi traveling down a dead-looking forest, I guess, to go to a mansion he got a poster for. I just noticed how many posters in my room. It's kind of weird. He decides to go look inside and is about to be attacked by ghosts. Side note, how do ghosts actually attack people? Because wouldn't they just pass through you or something? I don't know, I always thought that was a bit of a weird plot hole, or kind of weird with ghosts and stuff. Anyways, back to the track. But before Luigi gets aggressively passed through, he gets saved by an old guy with a vacuum cleaner. They both go back to Vacuum Guy's secret hideout. Oh, by the way, his name is Professor Egad. And he explains that he's been living here for a concerning amount of years, and the mansion only appeared a few days ago. But then he also says he's been here for years. I'm not entirely sure. Also, you find out apparently Luigi won the mansion in a competition that he didn't enter in, and Mario went on ahead to check out. Thankfully, I don't think Nigerian princes accept Mushroom Kingdom coins. So Egad gives Luigi his vacuum cleaner called the Polska 3000, not to be confused with the Polska 4000, which is a car, and sends him on his way to do his dirty work and to save Mario. Also get lots of money, I mean loads of it. I mean he's set for life and all the way until his grandkids' lives. So the main gameplay is trying to suck up these ghosts with the poltergust. They have different health, attacks, and various things to mix it up a bit, but they aren't particularly memorable, to be honest. But there are also the classic boos, as in not the drink boos, but the enemy boos. That's really confusing. Anyways, they start to show up about 20 minutes into the game when you accidentally release them from a container. I think accidentally. Along with King Boo, who is unsurprisingly the big cheese of the whole thing. Nice job, Luigi. Each boo you can find with this metal/boo detector thing attached to your Game Boy Horror, which is a cool gadget that Egad gives you, which has multiple different things. I'll get to that later. It glows different colors and beeps at different frequencies depending on how close you are to the object they are hiding in. Each boo has its own different pun name thing and a little joke it says before trying to catch it. And admittedly, some of the jokes aren't the worst. Some are bad, but a few got me a little. Now, boos and ghosts are cool and all, but the one thing that Luigi Mansion is known for is the boss ghosts. The bosses in this game aren't your typical brain-dead, predictable bad guys that become boring and tedious after you've taken half their HP. No. These guys need some semblance of intelligence. The only way to attack anything in this game, and by attack I mean vacuum, is when their ghost heart, I think that's what it's called, is visible and you shine your torch on it. I keep on forgetting to mention the gadgets Luigi has, although admittedly he starts off with a torch. A fair amount of ghosts have their heart visible all the time, but bosses don't. There are two phases when fighting a boss. The first phase is trying to get them to show their ghost heart, which is usually like a puzzle solved by observing the ghost behavior and using gadgets and or interacting with the different objects in the room. Although a few bosses are just a straight up fight without the puzzle of the hearts. Some ghosts will try to attack you in this phase, but it's fairly casually they do this, more of an annoyance or something to keep you moving than an actual threat. The second phase is when you finally reveal the ghost heart and engage in vacuuming them. It's mostly like standard ghosts, apart from Boos-ish, where they run about the room and you're still trying to hold your poltergust on them. Boos don't actually pull you about the room, they have barely any grip with the poltergust. But bosses will usually throw traps for you to dodge while flailing about the room, so you gotta be careful. If you fail to catch the ghost, then it'll go back to the first phase, so you can just do that puzzle again, but you already know what to do, so meh. So I've already mentioned the Game Boy Horror and its boo detector, but we can also do a lot of more cool stuff, like show the map of the mansion, which is handy for detecting the fake doors. It also shows information about the boss ghost you feared, so, you know, if you're really into that deep Luigi's Mansion lore, then go right ahead. It also shows all the items you have collected after going to Egad for paintings. The last thing it does is scanning things, which once an object is scanned, it will say something about the object. Standard scanning stuff. Apart from mirrors. For some reason, when you scan a mirror in any room, it will take you back to the front door of the mansion, which I also thought was a bit weird. Something else, or more like someone, you can find around the mansion are toads. You can find them in various places around the mansion, sobbing, which is kind of depressing, and you can go talk to them. They each have different dialogue options, either ending in Luigi looking like he's about to punch you in the face with his fists increasing in size, which is weird, and them immediately cheering up, or just continuing to cry. See, this game is one of those old games with save points. You younglings don't know how easy your games are now with just being able to pause and then click save. The only way to save in this game is either by catching a boo or talking to a toad, which doesn't happen too unoften, so it's not actually too bad. So what you're mostly going to be doing is traversing through the mansion and collecting / doing stuff to get further into it. Think a Zelda dungeon, but 6 hours. There also is a small place where you can play a practice session and look at some paintings, but you're going to be in that mansion for basically the whole game. And there lies the problem. There is loads of backtracking in this game. So much so that I basically memorized all the ghost spawn locations, but there's no incentive to actually fight them. So I just end up walking past them. In new locations, you actually want to fight them so you can clear the room and brighten up and stuff, but the holes can only be clear once the whole floor is done. But even with the ghosts gone and clear halls, it's still tedious. The mansion isn't horribly big, and there are shortcuts, but it's still a bit of a pain. But now, what about the real question everyone's been asking for? Is it scary? Well, duh, no. It's a Nintendo game. They're never scary. Even when I was a wee lad, I was never scared. And believe me, I was a wimp. Well, actually, when the power cuts out and the whole mansion is filled with ghosts, spoiler by the way, that kinda got me a bit. It nearly made me quit my whole competitive Luigi's Mansion esports career. One last thing I would like to mention about the game is there is a big difference between the PAL and NTSC version. When you beat the game, you will get access to a new game plus of sorts. Basically, it's making the mansion harder. But in the PAL version, it actually flips the whole mansion. Not sure why it's different in different versions, but you know, whatever. So that's pretty much everything I want to say about Luigi's Mansion. It's quite an enjoyable game despite its flaws, so I'll give it a 8.3 out of 10. A launch title that wasn't revolutionary in any means, but it was still a good game. And as for Luigi's Mansion 2, that's a review for another day. And by for another day, I mean I'll probably never get around to doing it. Also, just a side note, if you press the A button on nothing, Luigi will just randomly call for Mario, and it serves absolutely no purpose, so yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!